Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another episode of From the Ground Up, real-time issues and real-time solutions for MWBE, sponsored by Queen Strategy Partners. And we are so pleased that you have joined us for our show today. We thank you for tuning in to our previous episodes, staying connected with us at Queen Strategy as well as following us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. So we appreciate your presence here today because the goal of this collaboration, 3 MWBE businesses coming together with a bigger goal in mind, that we realize we're all successful in our own right, but how amazing would it be for us to collaborate and really be able to provide value to the marketplace, particularly in the areas where MWBEs exist. So we're excited that the content that we've been sharing with you has been such that it has helped you write down and plot out and plan your success strategy for 2020. So I'm excited that Nicole Valentine, Esquire, Danielle Douglas, and myself, Dr. Stacie N.C. Grant, have stayed the course to be able to really provide from the ground up real-time issues and real-time solutions for MWBEs in our community. So I'm going to turn it over to my co-host, Danielle Douglas, who's going to tell you a little bit about our show today. And we're so thrilled about our special guest.
So good morning, everyone. Thank you again for joining us today. We are really excited because we have a great guest, Miss Valerie Stevens, who will be really demonstrating and sharing with you her subject matter expertise on our topic today, which is optimizing your brand for connecting with your customers. I think this topic is really, really timely. And we were fortunate enough last week to have Miss Wineglass, Miss Brendez Wineglass, on to discuss branding. And Miss Valerie is going to be really building upon that conversation. As you all know, yesterday we entered phase 2 here in New York. And so retail organizations as well as construction organizations, they were in phase 1, but barbershops and hairdressers and retail shops, maybe, Bed Bath & Beyond and Home Goods, they have had the opportunity to open now. So I think this, again, topic is very timely. And what we asked Miss Valerie Stevens to do is really share with you how, again, you can think about what your brand is and how you want to engage and communicate with your target market, your customers. And so I'm going to share with you a little bit about Miss Valerie Stevens, Miss Extraordinaire. And Valerie N. Stevens is a public relations and community relations builder. Valerie received her BA in marketing and communications from the College of New Rochelle. And Valerie began working at the Jamaica Center Business Improvement Association as the Director of Business Services and Community Relations, where she effectively managed the BID's web, social media, and email content, helping to bring more exposure to their brand and helped raise the awareness of business brands within the downtown Jamaica district. Valerie also acted as the BID's liaison with local community groups and elected officials, in addition to highlighting the fashion trends of the businesses in downtown Jamaica with the BIDs, the one-of-a-kind fashion show, and Jamaica Just My Style. The event bringing influencers from across the New York metro area and outside of New York City. After leaving the BID, Valerie started Navi Public Relations, Strategic Content Marketing, gaining her first client with the Rockaway Development and Revitalization Corporation, helping to grow their brand awareness and enhance their sponsorship opportunities through marketing and media. She is passionate about community development and urban sustainability, enjoying networking, cultivating relationships, and bringing visibility and brand awareness to small businesses and organizations. And she currently resides in Southeast Queens and Hollis, Queens, New York. So without further ado, I want to say, Valerie, it's great to have you on the show. We are looking forward to you sharing your subject matter expertise with our audience. I have the opportunity to work very closely with Valerie through the Rockaway Development Revitalization Corporation because they are serving as the program manager for a capacity building program that we will be bringing to Southeast Queens. One, we're doing a 5-day program starting July 13th through the 17th to give business owners the opportunity to really, again, pivot and address the issues they're dealing with as a result of COVID-19. And we'll be following up with a 7-month capacity building program, the Streetwise MBA program, the end of September. So again, Valerie has been my partner with working with RDRC. She's been a great partner in providing her expertise, and I want to share that expertise with you all. So Valerie, it's great to have you.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited. You make revitalization sound, the word, like announcing the word, so easy. I always have such a hard time. The Rockaway Development and Revitalization Corporation. It's such a tongue twister for me, you know? But thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here. You guys are doing a great job. I really appreciate the Queen Strategy Partners and what you're bringing to the community, and how you're trying to empower and uplift the small businesses with information that they need, especially right now during these times.
Well, we're glad we can partner with you in bringing great information to the community. And so with that said, we want to jump right in. And so we wanted to really, for you to explain to us, what are the essential elements of having a social media presence?
The most important elements are the type of content, your message, and images and photos. During these times, digital marketing, people want something that's quick, fast, and easy. So your content should actually express who you are, what your message is, what your resolutions are, what your goal is, and your photos and images should reflect any campaigns that you're doing, any businesses and collaborations that you're working with. It's a profile of who you are and your accolades, where you were, where you are now, and where you want to go. So those are the most important essential elements of social media marketing.
So I love the fact that you said, you know, who you are, where you're going. So they're the pictures, you're telling a story, and you're creating a relationship, essentially. So
yeah, it's about creating a relationship. It's about creating a relationship and engaging with your audience. Who is your target audience? What is your brand? What does your brand say? That's what Brenda was saying last week. Who you are, what is your brand saying, and how your brand can be effective and efficient to working with the businesses or your partners that you're partnering with, or who you're collaborating with.
Absolutely. So with that being said, in creating that relationship, where should you build your audience? I mean, social media is so far and wide, right? There's Facebook, there's Instagram, there's Twitter, there's LinkedIn, there's TikTok. There's so many different places that you can build that relationship. So where should a business owner build their audience? How do you get to that decision?
Well, you build your audience. You first start with your friends. You start with your friends. When you start with your friends, you'll start to see that they're connected to other people and other brands and other community organizations, right? And like big box stores, they have the capacity to have several social media platforms. Mm-hmm. But with small businesses, they have to locate and find the niche, whether it's Facebook or Instagram. For example, RDRC, and even myself, Navi PR, I use Facebook and Instagram. I'm not a big Twitter person. I think that Twitter is for like real estate, because you want to make a statement. You want to give quotes about the real estate or about the destination where you are. So those are elements that are kind of really important, especially with Twitter. But if it's a small business, I would say, who is your audience? where you're located, who's your audience, and what is your message, what you're trying to say. And build on that and start building on that. Posting, 2 postings a day. Facebook and Instagram, 2 postings a day is the minimum. That's all you really need. Because what happens is when you start posting too much, people will start to unfollow you. If you start writing long content, a lot of writing, because people don't like to read. They just want to see the first thing, who you are, what you're doing, and what is the resolution. And basically that's it.
So with building that, I just want to build on something that you just said regarding the audience and where they live. Is there a certain age demographic that works better with one kind of social, like Facebook? I hear the young kids say, oh, that's for the old people. And, Instagram is more the younger individuals. My son has banned me from TikTok, but I still created an account. So is there a special place that you should be depending on your age demographic for your audience?
I don't think so. At first, I think people used to say that. But if you look at Facebook and Instagram, Facebook is pretty much telling your story. Instagram is telling your story through photos, right? And even TikTok. If you look at TikTok, you'll see there are older people that are making very funny videos that you're engaging in, right?
Right.
So to me, I don't think that there's no age demographics of what you want, of what platform you want to use. But be sure and be specific about the content in your photos. That's really, really important. The content in your photos,
Okay. So Valerie, with that said, how did you create a social media campaign? If I'm a business owner, how do I go about creating a campaign?
Okay, so I'm going to give you an example. A construction company, they want to start building a campaign. So what they would start doing, the first thing that they would do is visit their location, look at their area, the demographics in their area. Show a story of what they've been doing in the past. Show images, videos of what they've done. You want to get the audience engaged into who you are and what you're doing and how you are proven an effective factor for them. So you start building that by showing them what you've done, where you've been, who you are, where you're going, where you can take them to, what level you can take them to. And it really depends on the business and where they want to go. Like how much do you want to elevate your business? How much do you want to elevate your brand? How much time are you willing to spend in it? Because with social media, the theory is to spend 2 hours, at least 3 days out of the week on social media. Because when spending 2 hours, you get to see who's following you, the content. That's so important. That's so important. The content is so important because your content expresses who you are and what you're doing. So if someone was to build their campaign, it depends on the platform that they want to use, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. They have to find someone to actually be able to manage that and manage it in an effective way where they're engaging with the audience and getting results, Say, for instance, Danielle, with your business, you want to promote your business, you want to promote your brand. You want someone who's going to manage your page, connect with people everywhere. Because, with social media, you connect with people in different countries all over the world, right? Mm-hmm. But if someone comes to New York, they may be looking for something that you're doing. So that's your social media manager is engaging with them, and that's an effective engagement. So that's how you're going to build your campaign, by engaging with the audience, and talking to them so that you'll find out who they are, what they want, and how you can be an impactful business for them.
So Valerie, talking about the construction worker, you use that as the example. If they had specific potential clients that they wanted to target, right? So we may have a construction worker in the community, and there's the JFK redevelopment project, right? And they may want to be a part of that project. And they're doing things in the community, or they have other clients. Let's just say they have other clients. Could they put like hashtag JFK Redevelopment Project or hashtag Port Authority. Like, how could they bring attention to themselves as they're doing other construction jobs to demonstrate and like get a step above? Like, could they do something like that? What would that look like?
Yeah, that's a great question, Danielle, because hashtags are very important because hashtags connect you to to other content. It connects you to other businesses, other entrepreneurs. So if it's a JFK redevelopment, I would say hashtag JFK, hashtag redevelopment, hashtag new business, hashtag small businesses, hashtag airport, hashtag careers, and all of those will connect you to all of those hashtags are going to connect that business to other businesses. And you'll start to see that there are photos representing that business. And then you all start connecting and start talking. And that's how you may land a client. That client may say, oh, you know what? I saw that you built this up in Manhattan over here. So I want to use your services to help me build my JFK redevelopment. It's a connecting component. So did I answer that question?
Well, Stacie,
Danielle, I just wanted to jump in because I think Danielle had one more piece to ask. But when you talk about the hashtags, I think it's also important for us to understand what hashtags we use so you can connect to the audience, because people follow individuals, but they also follow hashtags and they're able to put that in their feed. So is that something that a business owner should be aware of as well?
Yeah, you create your own hashtag, like with so for instance, Navi Public Relations, my hashtags are marketing, strategic content, communications, fashion. Now that I'm working with RDRC, redevelopment, because that's what I help them do. I help them bring more visibility to their brand, right? So you start looking at other hashtags and you just pick them up. And once you start picking them up, you'll start connecting with that business. And that's how you'll start getting more insight. You'll get more insight on that business, who that business is, what that business is bringing to the community, what that business is bringing to the community.
Okay. So you gave us the example of like the construction worker, right? Who has two objectives, because you addressed one. Maybe they're looking to interact with other businesses for a couple of reasons. One, maybe they could be a subcontractor and pick up businesses as subcontractor, right? Under a prime. Maybe they could potentially develop a collaboration and a joint venture, right? Or maybe they could work directly with JFK redevelopment. So is there a way that they, even for when you're trying to get recognized by a big organization like a Port Authority New York, in New Jersey, or Department of Small Business Services, or what? Is there a way that you can potentially use hashtags or develop a social media campaign around that, right?
Yes.
So
yeah, you can.
Audience, different people that you may be trying to target and connect with.
Yeah. If it's just your example is good, because with the redevelopment of downtown, the JFK redevelopment, I would say start a campaign and a conversation with other construction companies or other businesses. But someone would start following that business and see what their hashtags are, and then you use your hashtag. Like I'm going to give this example again. JFK redevelopment, JFK construction, LaGuardia, Panny, NYNJ. And what happens is you create a conversation, and then say, for instance, Dr. Stacie's construction company is going to come in now and start engaging in a conversation with the JFK based on those hashtags. And the conversation would be, what are your goals for this business? What are you bringing to the community? How can we partner? How can we collaborate? How can we bring more visibility to your brand? Or how can we connect to each other to build up each other's brand so that the community can get the resources and the economics that they need to grow? So it's all about the conversation.
Okay. So we want to also discuss, because we know you have an example for us of a social media campaign that you've done, and
But
that may. Oh, Stacie.
yeah, before we even get into the example, I want to go back to something that you said, Valerie, especially for all the businesses that are watching. You mentioned you need a social media manager. Some people might not have the capacity to hire a social media manager, and we're talking about creating a social media campaign. I think just for purposes of educating our audience, what does a campaign entail? What does that look like? Is that a weekly planning? Is that a monthly planning? How do you create whatever position that you want to take on a subject? Like, what does that look like for a person who is really tentative on this whole social media? Like, they're trying to step into it, they're trying to figure it out. What is
Yeah,
a social media campaign? Like, what should you be thinking about, especially if you're not in a position where you can hire a social media manager?
right. You're right, Stacie. A lot of small businesses, they do not have the capacity to hire a social media manager, maybe like a Starbucks or a Marshalls or a Macy's. So what they do is they reach out to people like me, right? I'm a small business communication strategist, right? So if you were to come to me, I would have to sit down with you, um, ascertain what your business is. We would create a message, and that's the message that we would continuously use. Um, or you, in reference to not having someone to come on board like me, then you need to hire an intern, bring in an intern, right? Or get one of your nieces or nephews and say, you know what, I can give you $20 at the end of this week, or I can give you $50 at the end of the week, but I need you to manage this for me this day, Mondays and Wednesdays. But the person will actually have to look at when people are posting, when the high peak conversations, when are the low peak conversations. What type of images are you putting out there to promote your brand? So for someone who's a small business, I would say find someone in your family who you know is doing social media. Create a work plan for them. Sit down and create a work plan for them of where you are now, where you want to go. I'm going to always say that, where you are now, where you want to go, and your resolution. I'm always going to say that because that's so important with social media, is to know what your message is and where you want to go, and so that the community can see that you're a part of that, you know. And for small businesses, they do have a hard time with that, because it's basically, Stacie and Danielle, educating small businesses of the importance of social media. So
Mm-hmm.
if they're not able to hire someone, then they should bring in a family member and tell the family member, or get an intern and say, this is what I need you to do. You know, try not to make it too heavy for them. But social media is a lot of work, but it's so much fun because you're connecting with people all over the world all day long. So I hope I answered your question, Stacie.
Yeah, absolutely. I just wanted to really make sure we touched on that because you can create a campaign from scratch, right? This is from the ground up,
Yeah,
real
you can
time
create
issues, real time solutions. So we want you to graduate to be able to work with someone like you, or, you know, as you expand your brand. And you mentioned Starbucks as an example, how they have a whole department that's
they
dedicated to
do.
that kind of outreach. So as businesses are growing and building, you can start with your social media strategy and build your campaign. What's the message? I mean, you gave a great point. I hope everyone's listening to that. Every business is different and every business has to speak to their audience. So when you're building that campaign, really being clear on what that is, because you can post for posting's sake, right? People post about their food and their breakfast, but is that really going to help you get clients? So we really want them to understand that there's a strategy around that. And good morning, David and Loria. Thank you all for joining in, and definitely share this if you think it'll be a benefit to other business owners. But I appreciate you going through that, Valerie, because we want businesses to understand that there's always a strategy. There's a strategy to everything, and creating that social media campaign. And I know Danielle's about to talk about some examples that we'll show live. It's important to understand how to start if you haven't
I
dealt
just
with
want to say, I'm sorry, I'm Dr. Stacie. I just really wanted to say this, especially with small businesses. I try to express with organizations, it's so important to have a marketing department.
it.
And with small businesses, you can start a marketing department. You can start a marketing department with $300 budget, a $200 budget, because you're going to bring in an intern or you're going to bring in a family member, because their labor, that's labor, that's their labor. So always start your business and make sure you put a marketing plan together. Always have a marketing plan together.
It's not, I just want to build upon what you just said, Valerie and Stacie, is that we're talking about social media and how to engage with your customers. But the other part of that is you have to, and it may be obvious, but I just want to say it, you have to make sure your offline marketing is synergistic with your online marketing, the social media. So when you talk about the messaging, what's that overall message that you have? And then you think about how social media is one aspect of your overall marketing strategy, right? And that they need to be synergistic in how you are utilizing your offline tactics and things you're doing to market your business along with the social media.
Yeah.
So that's important.
No, you're right. Yeah.
And with that said, again, we know retail companies or businesses, may it be the barbershop, like I said, or someone who has another type of retail shop, they just were able to open yesterday. Hopefully they were engaging with their customers, their community throughout the COVID-19. But also, as they open, they also have another opportunity to continue to engage with them, share with them that they're open, what they're doing, how they're doing it. And so we know that you, again, have numerous examples from when you were working with the Jamaica Bid on how you were able to assist small retail businesses in really developing a social media campaign to one, either open up, right? Or most importantly, to engage with their customers. So
yeah, I just wanted to piggyback off of what you said about businesses that are opening up now, like the beauty salons. Let me give you an example. Make Me Over Beauty Bar on Jamaica Avenue. They never stopped marketing. During the entire time that we were going through the pandemic, they never stopped marketing. They always had videos of something that they did in the past, an event that they held in the past, something that they're working on now. And what they did was they created this really amazing video with this music, and it just says "Make Me Over Beauty Bar, coming back soon." And it was like the beat alone. You're anticipating and waiting for them to open. Those girls really got it together over there. But that's so important. And even during this time that we were going through this, they never stopped. Another one is Thai Rock Restaurant in downtown Far Rockaway. During the entire time of the pandemic, they never stopped marketing. They never stopped showing photos of their food, people that were in their restaurant, because you're anticipating the opening and the reopening of NYC business. So you constantly have to keep that going.
That's great. And Brendez is here, Ms. Wineglass. She was saying staying consistent. Once again, when you start these strategies, you implement these plans, you have to stay consistent. You can't post one time in June and then nobody sees you until August. It doesn't work that way. You can't build a relationship.
Right. So, it is more important to build a relationship. Try not to worry about how many people are following you, because that doesn't matter. You can have 2 million people following you, but if you're not engaging in a constructive conversation and making some type of impact with a business or another entrepreneur, then you're defeating the purpose of social media. Social media is to build your brand, to connect, and have resolution,
And you bring up an important point, Valerie, because sometimes people get caught up in the quantity of followers that they have instead of the quality of the followers. And so when we want to connect with the right people that can we can provide a solution to. And if we are not connecting to the right people, then, it's for naught, So it's better to have quality over quantity.
Absolutely.
Always.
Yeah. And they become loyal, right? Because they get to know you, something that you shared before.
Yeah.
It's in a relationship. If you think about even a love relationship, you have to get to know someone before you open up and you trust them and you spend more time with them. It makes you want to do business because they know, like, and trust you. And you can't build that relationship in just one day. It's over a period of time, and you're intentional about how you're building that relationship. So I think that was key that you shared. You had some examples. So we want to make sure that we get to those examples, as Danielle mentioned before. So we're going to get into that, because I think it's great if people can actually see what you're talking about in real time and look at an example, and you could walk us through what you did for this particular bid. I think this was the Jamaican fashion show. So we're going to play it, and then we're going to walk through what we're seeing.
Okay. So, you know, we started in 2014, bringing a story of downtown Jamaica, connecting with the community.
And this fashion show was here in Southeast Queens.
Yeah, the Jamaican Performing Arts Center. Now that's Kerry Singleton. He has a internet radio called Kerry's Corner, and he marketed the show the entire time. We did interviews. We had guests. So we built a brand based upon the community of downtown Jamaica. Soliciting sponsorship from Sangria, Golden Crust.
You know what, Valerie? Excuse me. I was going to say, with the music, since we got the gist of it, is it possible now that you can now walk us through? Because we don't want you to talk over, you know, the music and stuff.
Yeah,
It's hard to hear you. So if you can now walk us through, because we got a gist of it, what the objective was, who the audience was, and how you went about implementing the campaign, that would be great.
Well, we first started with, we wanted to celebrate downtown Jamaica, right? And celebrating downtown Jamaica is to celebrate the stores, especially the small businesses. Small businesses are the heart of the community. So we wanted to focus on the fashion of the small businesses, the restaurants in the downtown area, downtown Jamaica, influencers who want to actually visit downtown Jamaica to see what downtown Jamaica has to offer. So we created this story that downtown Jamaica is vibrant, it's fun, it's friendly, it's welcoming, it's family oriented. So, and what we did was we started reaching out to different artists from Queens. You know, the first one we had was Ed Lover. Jeff Red is not from Queens, but he represents small businesses, and he represents the community. So we had Jeff Red as a performer. We had Roxanne Shante. We had Mr. Cheeks. We had bloggers from all over New York City, because in marketing, what we would do is we would show, every time we had a fashion show, we created a video. So during the entire year, we marketed that fashion show. We marketed the businesses, whether it was Marshall, Old Navy, The Gap, Sangria, Golden Crust, Chipotle, Fresh and Healthy, whoever was a collaborating Resorts World, you know. We even went down to Resorts World and we did photos and we did videos of, you know.
Hold on, Valerie. Valerie, you know, this is real-time show. I need to pause because you said something huge right there. You use video. Did you use your camera phone, or did you hire a professional videographer to capture each one of these years? Can you let a sister know? Because some of us think we can go out there with our iPhones and make this thing happen.
Let me tell you, Dr. Stacie, those iPhones are amazing. But no, we did hire Nomad Marketing. We did hire a marketing consultant. But after that, I actually produced all of the shows, and I would hire the models, I would hire the fashion designers. But in reference to videography, we always had a multimedia manager who did all of the videos, did all of the photos.
And it's important, you know, as you go through, and, you know, we'll play a little bit more of this, but I know we have another example, but I want people to see the difference in the quality. That when you're building a brand and you're putting something out there, there are times where it will be organic and you'll use your phone, because that's what we should use smartphones for, right? To utilize on the go, people seeing you move. But when you're making a production, and this was a production, and this particular video that we're highlighting is a compilation of a few years. It shows the growth, back to what you said earlier, where you started, where you're moving to, and where your aspirational goal is. So the video gives a clean, professional look at the activity. We're watching people interact. You're looking at the brands that you name. So I really want businesses to think about their expenses when you're mapping out expenses. And we've talked about taking a look at your business. It might be well worth putting in some dollars, not only for a social media manager, but for multimedia presence, to have a professional videographer, a professional photographer, so that your images that you're putting out in the world have a certain look and feel to them. So I didn't want us to just rush through that particular point. I think that's huge with what you're showing in this example. And we have someone that's asking a question. Hey, Shanice, she said, good morning, ladies. And this Valerie, what kind of social media presence should a startup business have just starting out? And then Brendez also said, if you can't afford to hire, collaborate with a indie media company as a partnership. So that's also a very good opportunity for you to utilize collaboration, like Queen Strategy Partners, right? If you don't have that resource, you find somebody else that does, and you work together. So, and hey, Rolanda, thank you for joining in. We appreciate you being on the show. So I know you were going through some more of what you just highlighted with the brands that are shown here, but let us know. I just wanted to put that in there because that's huge for us to just talk about the opportunity to have professional media when we're doing this work.
And Valerie, can I just jump in as well? I know that when we first started, you talked about photos and images and things like that. So how important, you know, especially when we talk about budget, is video to get your messaging across, right? It's different layers and different things that you could use. And even though video can be impactful, but, you know, do you have to use video if you don't have the budget? What does that look like as it relates to the different mediums that you can use?
You know, I want to go back to what Dr. Stacie said, that marketing is really important. So when you create a marketing budget, all of those elements fall under it. You may not be able to hire a multimedia manager, but if you have an iPhone, hire an intern, hire one of your nieces or nephews and say, this is what I need you to video. And they can videotape it, because everyone has to start somewhere, right? You don't have the capacity to hire someone. So what you do is you bring in a family member and say, I need you to take these photos. I need you to video this. And you could create your own video and put it on YouTube. Mm-hmm. And Danielle, I think could you repeat that question you asked me? I'm sorry, I kind of forgot.
No, that's okay. That's fine. I think you pretty much answered it, to be honest with you, because I was saying that there's different channels, even though video is very important. Like you said, sometimes people can't afford to have, you know, the video production. So you pretty much answered it when we,
Yeah. Absolutely. And I know we have another example that we're going to show as well, just to take a look at some of what you've done. And we really thank you all for your comments, because we want this show to give you real-time solutions for real-time issues. Right now, if you're not out there letting people know what you do, you talked about the makeup bar. I forgot the name of the company. I don't want to butcher them, Valerie, but you talked about the
Make Me Over Beauty Bar. Make Me Over Beauty Bar.
Make Me Over Beauty Bar. So they, in the middle of the pandemic, they didn't panic. They were strategic in their pivot. So they were like, okay, you can't come in the store, but we can come to you. So we're still going to give you value. We're still going to offer you resources. We're going to share fun things that can keep your spirits up during these challenging times. So I bet you once phase 2 started, people are like, okay, I'm booking my appointment. Make sure you clear. I'm in there, social distance, gloves on, hand sanitizers, masks, whatever we need to do. But we're coming in. And that's a great example of an engaging social media campaign, that you're still working with your audience and you're keeping that relationship going. And they want to see that. They want to know that you're human and that it's not just all the glossy photos, but that you have a real story. So I think that's amazing. And we're going to show this next example of one of your clients, I believe.
So before we do that, I want to build upon what Stacie just said, because you did say that they were great at providing a video and, you know, providing information and things like that. But how does, and maybe you could, the question I'm asking you, you can integrate that into your next example. How does one really engage with their audience? So it's two-way, it's a conversation. There's actual engagement opposed to just putting out things like pictures and videos, because that's the other part of the equation, that an engagement is that you have to be getting engaged with your customers, that they're communicating with you, you know, and they're letting you know how what you're delivering to them and what you are giving them, they are receiving it, you know, and that they see it. So how do you ensure that you are truly getting that engagement and building that relationship? And again, you can incorporate the answer, if you like, into the next example. That works.
But just what I was going to say, I was going to use Make Me Over Beauty Bar and Laconic Couture as an example to your question. With Make Me Over Beauty Bar, they hosted Make Me Over tips every day. Like, no, 3 days a week they did it. Like I can't remember the days that they did it, but they gave you makeover tips, how to put your lashes on, how to put your makeup on. They continued to show their customers that they were still alive, that they were here to stay, that they're still here for you to keep you beautiful. They gave you tips on how to keep your nails up. You know, we're not open to do your nails, but this is what you should do to keep your nails up, to keep your nails beautiful. You know, because we as women, even though we're going through the pandemic, we still want to make sure our hair is done, our nails are done, our feet are done. You know, so they continue to do that, as well as Laconic Couture. You know, she's an up and coming artist. And what she did was she constantly was engaging with her audience, being friendly, being fun, you know, showing the different types of leg glam wear that she has, that she's proposing, that she's promoting, new leg glam wear that she's bringing about. You know, she was constantly engaging with her audience and just letting them know that I'm still here for you.
Well, we're gonna play her right now. And I saw this video. I was like, I think I need a pen.
Oh, honey, let me tell you, she has such an amazing. And you notice how fun she is. You notice when she flips, she flips the little buckles. Just that you see how easy it is. It's not hard at all to do. And she's just having fun. She's engaging with her audience. She's being personal with her audience. You know. And she's just being her. She's just being Laconic Couture. But she's continuously engaging with her audience on a constant basis. She's consistent. And she uses hashtag chic. The hashtag she uses chic, fashion, leg glam. You know, all of those hashtags can create a conversation that connects her with other businesses. Right now, she's connected to Kim Kardashian with leg glam wear. She didn't even know it until I told her, but she's an amazing artist. She really is. She really is. And she has a great fashion wear. She cares about people. She cares about women, because most women have a hard time finding boots that fit their legs, their calves. So what she did was she created a leg lamb to customize it to fit your leg, to fit you. You know, you can put it over top of your boot. You can put it over top of your shoes. You can make it friendly. She has great customer service. She gives you a little basket, a little bag with a tape measurement in it. She's constantly talking to you. Well, how do you want it to fit? Or, you know, I'll suggest maybe a little bit, leaving a little room for this. She's very engaging, very great customer service. But most of all, she's friendly, she's welcoming, and she's engaging with her audience and her customers, because she wants women to feel good about themselves when they go out. You know, we all know that our feet matter. Our shoe game is important to us. I mean, it's important to me.
So, Valerie, how do you know if your social media campaign is working? Because again, you could be delivering great content, but you also have to see how your potential client base, how they're consuming that content, and the end result is not only to increase your followers, but to hopefully get business. Like I guess Lisa spoke about last week, in the engagement, she said, well, I want to convert that to actual clients. So that's why, again, I'm asking about the engagement on the other side, right? Because you could be providing great content, but you still have to measure what you're doing, and is it giving you the results that you want?
Yes, I'm going to go back to what we were saying earlier, engagement, right? How do you know your social media is working? When someone sends you a check for your product, So if, say for instance, like right now, say Dr. Stacie said she likes the leg lamb wear, right? She can reach out to Sylvia and say, I saw your video on my show. I'd like to talk to you about customizing a leg lamb wear just for me. That's how you know your social media is working. When you're actually engaging with your audience and connecting with them to return on your ROI, right? So if you're receiving income and revenue, you know that your social media is working. If you're receiving collaboration with someone else to build your brand and to bring more visibility to your brand, and to receive some revenue, you know that it's working.
I love it. Look, it is cha-ching ching. So you just wasting time. The dollars are coming in. Valerie, I love that right there, girl. And yes, I will be calling her. I need some custom-made leg lamb. The shoe game is important. And hey, Vanessa, thank you for joining in. And Shanice said, yeah, our feet do matter. But that's a great example of a campaign, to Danielle's point. How do you know it's working? People are like, wow, that's a great video. And that's why video and photos are so important, because people get drawn into that and they're able to have a connection with you through what you put up in social media. And then that converts into actual dollars and cents. So that's a good point.
So Valerie, I have two more questions for you. Sure. One of them is patience, right? Because the end result may be that you want to sell your product, a service, right? And like you said, it's return on investment. But there's a process, just like getting married. You got to build that relationship. You have to get to know each other. So, what does that look like in regards to time and that process to get to the point where you can say ka-ching and people are willing to buy your product or service?
Social media is about patience. It really is. And connecting and being consistent. Being consistent. Schedule 2 postings a day. With Facebook, you can schedule postings. I schedule RDRC postings all the time, right? Schedule the postings. Continue to engage. Don't be afraid of negative input. Someone is always going to say something. There are always going to be naysayers. Don't be afraid. Turn a negative into a positive. Thank you for your insight. I really appreciate you following me. Hope that we can talk more, and maybe I can do something that can change the way you feel. But if I can't, I still thank you for following me. Just never stop. Just continue to go on and be consistent. Consistency is the key.
So you and I, with some other members of our team, just had a conference call yesterday, right? And
Yes.
I think it's a perfect opportunity because we have a little bit more time to talk about this as an example, that we have an event coming up, our informational session online. We have partners and we discuss what could we do to engage with business owners to really attract them, for them to come to our event. And so even when you could be a small business owner, but you could be an organization as well. It could be the flip, right? We were talking about small business
Yes.
owners trying to connect to organizations or other businesses or their customers. But what about the organization that's trying to connect to business owners, right? Which is the purpose
Yes.
that you're serving at RDRC in the role that you're playing, and how that looks with collaboration and all of that. So can you share that?
It's always important to get your message out, at least start promoting your brand. If there's an event that you're doing, start promoting it a month, 2 months in advance. Create a work plan create a work plan of your brand and stick to that work plan, right? Because it's going to give you objectives. It's going to help you with resolutions. It's going to help you with collaborations when you create that work plan. Start promoting it 2 to 3 months in advance. And whoever is collaborating with you should also be promoting it as well. And sometimes you may not get the feedback that you're looking for, and that's okay. That's okay, because you're growing, and everything is a process. And in this process, being patient and knowing that the end result is to build your brand or to collaborate or bring effective economics to the corridors of your community. Being patient and consistent always is really the key. So continue to promote it. Just continue to promote it. And it's so, like I said, it's okay. It's okay sometimes if you don't get the attendees that you're looking for. It's really okay, because everything is a process and everything takes time.
But you just said something. I'm sorry, Stacie. You just said something important that people should think about. If it doesn't work, that's why you have to really look at what you're doing. Then you need to tweak it, and you got to look at the different pieces that you're doing to see where it needs tweaking. Because it could be that you didn't have enough time. It could be that your messaging is not quite right. It could be that you're giving your messaging to the wrong audience. So there's different components of it that if you don't get the result that you want, that you have to really look at each piece of the process to see where there potentially could have been a breakdown.
Yeah, that's why it's so important to that's why it's really important to frequent your social media pages. 2 hours, at least 3 days a week. You want to look at the audience, see who you're engaging with, and and create a relationship with those businesses or organizations that are aligned with your vision and aligned with your message.
Mm-hmm. And also knowing that while you're building it, you might have 2 or 3 people that engage with you, but those 2 or 3 people will become very committed, and they will tell 2 or 3 people, and they will tell 2 or 3 people. So there's a process. And when you talk about the patience, it's a process. So it might take a couple of weeks, it might take a couple of months, but as you go through, you're keeping, as Danielle said, you're evaluating what's happening. But the loyalty that you build, they will be your ambassadors, and they will tell other people, like, oh, you need to follow, and people start resharing and reposting and letting folks know about what you're doing. Even using the young lady, Leg Glam, is that her brand?
Yes.
Leg Glam. So even just using that as an example, one person gets it, and we know how we are. We're visual. So if you see it on, girl, where did you get those? And then you share that and you repost it. That also builds an organic sort of following, but everything takes time. People think you become YouTube famous overnight. Everybody's working on something, and you have to build. And over a period of time, once you build, then that loyal following will follow you anywhere. Just like those golden arches. I don't care where you go in the world. You see the golden arches, there's some fries that are being cooked in there. So they can start marketing whatever, because you're still going to come in because you trust that they have something that you've built a relationship with, that you love, that you enjoy, and it gives you that opportunity. So that is huge when we talk about the strategy and the consistency and the stamina. I think those are your takeaways today, right? You have to have the stamina for being in this social media super information highway that used to drive me crazy. I'm like, what? I can barely deal with emails. What are you talking about? Posting and I'm like, give me a break. But that's where we are. And that's how we communicate. And that's your footprint outside of traditional marketing, which is not the same anymore. And if you don't have a social media presence as a business, then you're at a deficit.
You sure are. I try to, and you know what it is? I'm Dr. Stacie and Danielle. A lot of people are afraid of social media. Everything is a process and everything takes time. However, going forward now, we are into digital. We're going to be living like the Jetsons pretty soon. I don't know if you guys remember the Jetsons. But
I sure do.
we're going to be living like the Jetsons pretty soon, right? So social media, if you have no social media presence, you will be lost. Because as you said, Dr. Stacie and Danielle, it can be that one particular collaboration or that one particular person that you engage with that can skyrocket your brand, that can skyrocket your business. And once you meet that person, it's like a domino effect. You meet Danielle, you meet Dr. Stacie, you meet Brenda, you meet this person, you meet that person, and so on and so on and so on. And then you continue to build your brand. Nothing happens overnight. Nothing happens overnight. Everything takes time and process. I'm just a very inquisitive person. I've always been a socialite. So when I went to school for marketing communications, when I started working at the Bid, my boss, Rhonda Bender, is the reason why I'm the way I am now. Because she gave me creative flow to just do what I wanted to do, and she allowed me to be creative. She allowed me to go out and meet the businesses. And once I started going out to meet the businesses, I started to realize that small businesses, they want to know. They want to grow their brand. They want to grow their business. They want to engage with the community. They want new customers. They want, continued customers, returning customers. So I learned all of that, and for me, it was just fun. For me, it's just fun, connecting. I always say, because I'm nosy, but my godmother say, don't say nosy, say inquisitive. So
I like that one.
Somebody's page. I'm always looking at someone else's page, and I read all the content. That's why I read all the content. I read everything.
Well, and that's a good thing. Clearly, that's why you do what you do, and we appreciate you coming and sharing that with our businesses today. As Danielle and I have stated, when we came together as Queen Strategy with Nicole, we wanted to add value. We have collectively how many years of experience, and we've had our levels of success, and we understood the power in collaboration, and now bringing this collaboration into a show that allows us to talk about real-time issues, like things are happening right now, and what can I do right now to create a solution? So you've given our audience an opportunity to really start thinking about the plan. If you haven't already started your social media strategy and you started creating that plan, then now is the time. It's never too late to start, but you need to start, because phase 2 is here. Everybody was like, all right, we paused. We didn't know when phase 1 would start. Now phase 2 is here, and there'll be a phase 3, and things are going to keep moving. So we want businesses to be equipped from this show with every facet of business to be successful, because obviously we want to be successful, but we get joy from seeing other people be successful. So thank you for everything that you shared today, Valerie. Great information. I just really like the leg glam, girl. I try to stay composed. I'm like, yeah, wait, I gotta send her a message because my birthday is coming. I need some leg glam for my birthday. But that is a great example of how social media can work, and you never know who's going to share what. So when you put it out there in the world, you want it to be representative of your best self, so that you can connect with other fabulous people like those who are watching the show today, and they'll be sharing this episode with other people. So that's what I would just say. Thank you as Danielle closes us out for today. This was a great interaction, and using your case studies as a sample of what we can do to really build strategy. So thank you for sharing your brilliance with us, Valerie.
So, and
thank you for having me.
Valerie, we are really happy that you came on and shared, your expertise with the audience. We really appreciate it. But I also want to speak to the audience and say, as Stacie said, we will continue to provide real-time solutions for real-time issues. Stacie, myself, and Nicole, we were very intentional about the subjects that we wanted to start our show with. There's two important ingredients, not that none of the other things are important in the business, but financing and marketing. And we wanted to ensure that we address that because especially in these critical times, you want to know, one, about financing or finances. Again, cash flow. What does that look like? Because if you don't have cash, even right now, you couldn't stay in business. And then we were intentional about transitioning and marketing because if you don't have customers, you can't stay in business and you won't have cash flow. So we continue to provide you with practical resources, tools, information that you can use today and tomorrow. We just hope that you become a Raven fan. We hope that you become a brand influencer and you share the gospel, the good news about from the ground up, real-time issues with real-time solutions, because we will continue to be here providing great information for you every Tuesday at 9 o'clock. So we're looking forward to seeing you next week at the same time. Until then, have a great and productive week and make it happen.
Okay. Bye. Thank you.